Hello everyone and welcome to a week of Linux news for the 18th of June 2017. Now I've been struggling to gain the impetus a bit with YouTube videos lately, but I have been doing some work on NoTrack. So I can't really do both projects at once, but yes, I'm actually implementing a new feature on NoTrack. It has involved me doing some work on Whois APIs, on a poorly documented free one, but anyway, work is now progressing. So the news this week. Well, I'm going to cut this story a little bit short for the first one, but it has been a new update for KDE Plasma 5.10. We're now up to 5.10.2. I'm not going into release notes for this one, I've just noticed it's out, but they seem to be coming out every other week at the moment, so it's quite a rapid progression for KDE. Debian Stretch should now be released. The former release date was scheduled for the 17th of June. Now maybe it is out on the 18th of June when you watch this video, but at time of recording on the 17th of June, it's still not here. And I can tell because going across the downloads, it is still listed as version 8.8. Tails version 3 has been released, the Amnesic Incognito Live system, a distro that boots straight into a Tor browser. So what do we have for new features? A new startup and shutdown experience. Okay, normally I would pass that by, but are they allowing anything like a new style selector? No mention. So that is the GNOME Desktop. They used to have a Windows XP style. I don't know if they've still got anything like that. So major upgrades. So there's new versions of all the software on the system. The pigeon icon tray was removed from the top navigation bar and replaced by a pop-up notification. So maybe I'll give that a go at some point. It is an interesting distro if you're impacted by restrictions on the internet and you want a quick live CD to boot up into. And what an incentive it is, because the CIA has been hacking into Wi-Fi routers for years, leaked documents show. This is from ZDNet. Leaked secret documents have revealed the CIA has been targeting and compromising home, office and public wireless routers for years in an effort to carry out clandestine surveillance. America, this is why many countries hate you, because of your three-letter agencies which seem to be undermining the world of computing. The documents, which could not be immediately verified, are part of an ongoing series of leaks released by WikiLeaks, revealing some of the work being carried out by the CIA. One of the tools, dubbed Cherry Blossom, allows the agency to monitor internet activity of a target, redirect their browser, scan for email addresses and phone numbers, and other software exploits. From CSO Online, cybersecurity labour crunch to hit 3.5 million unfilled jobs by 2021. So if you're looking for a career in computing, cybersecurity is definitely a way to go, and I certainly know that from my own experience. And I have plenty enough to do at the moment. In fact, I have too much and do not get all my jobs done by the end of the day. Yes, I'm falling behind. We have a little bit of a staff shortage of our own. So I'm not going to go into this article too much, but yeah, I just thought it was surprising to see the number of job vacancies that are predicted, and that cybercrime is expected to cost the world $6 trillion by 2021, up from $3 trillion at the moment in 2015. Ouch. The Ubuntu Desktop weekly update for this week. So what do we have? Since they're working on GNOME now for the upcoming release of Ubuntu 17.10, Artful Aardvark. So they're trying to get the ambience theme working correctly. Network Manager updated. Yes, that sounds boring. GNOME Terminal received a small fix to make it easier to create custom terminals. Some work continuing on the live patching service, and snaps. GNOME software now works with a Snap Store to show promoted snaps or editors' picks. Ah, very good. Since you've been using snaps for some time, Ubuntu, but never really made this big thing about them. So I hope that is going to improve now, and we may see more snaps, or more snap applications. From the register, Firefox 54 delivers sandboxes. Mozilla's wanted since 2009. 8 years later. So Firefox, I currently have one process. I don't think that's sandbox then. considering the number of tabs I have open, which is one for each story here. So am I guessing that you need to enable the feature? Do you need to do anything? Does it not work on Linux? So Firefox now creates up to 4 separate processes for web page content. So your first 4 tabs each use those 4 processes, and additional tabs run using threads within those processes. Multiple tabs within a process share the browser engine that already exists in memory instead of creating their own. Well, I don't have anything like that, and I am using Firefox 54. So what is next? Another article from the Register. Samsung releases a new 49-inch desktop monitor with a 32:9 aspect ratio. Wow, how do you fancy a 49-inch desktop on your desk? So most monitors these days are 16:9 ratio, which HD 1080 is 1920x1080. The new Samsung CHG90 monitor is 32:9 and 3840x1080. And it's going to cost $1,499 US. Wow, you'd think for that price you might get a 4K equivalent resolution. Anyway, I would have expected something a bit higher on the resolution for that sort of price tag. I suppose looking at what I have at the moment with 2 monitors is almost the equivalent of that. And with the curved layout there, yeah, that would look quite nice. But of course the applications for most desktops would not split up the same because you normally get halves and quadrants. You kind of need to go to eighths, of which thinking something like the i3 window manager would look quite nice on there. Who'd have thought I'd be saying that the i3 window manager would beat most desktops? From Softpedia, Fedora 26 will be launching in mid-July. So there's been a few delays on it, but yeah, looks like we're finally getting near the release date. So what do we have? So it'll be the GNOME 3.24 as the default desktop. DNF2 is now the default package manager. There's just some updated applications. It'll be kernel version 4.11. Anything more? Anything more? Nothing too much interesting there. And why is it really? It's just a basic stock GNOME desktop. Another article from Softpedia. Ubuntu's Snapd daemon now works properly on the original Raspberry Pi and the Raspberry Pi Zero. However, it's currently non-functional due to lack of a core snap. So you're halfway there then. So there was problems originally with the sandboxing and the ARM HF kernel, wasn't there? So it looks like that problem's been solved, but they're saying the repository has now been updated to include Snapd version 2.26.4, and that detects the ARM v6L and prevents installation of the ARM HF core snaps on these devices. That means Snapd will now work properly on the Raspberry Pi 1 and 0, but as we don't have a core snap or any other snaps available, it will be non-functional. Oh well. As I said, you're halfway there. And there's some rather long-winded instructions on how to install it. EUB Ports, which is a fork of Unity 8 for mobile, has now seen its first OTA 1 release. But it's not yet working for all devices. So the exceptions are Nexus 4 and Nexus 5. So it brings many bug fixes and enhancements to the platform, including experimental AGPS support. I believe that stands for Assisted GPS Support. So there's also the EUB Ports Welcome app, the amazing Open Store, and terminal and file browser are pre-installed. It's the little things. True enough. And now for the most controversial article I think I've ever included on any video. The top 10 text editors for the Linux desktop. Number 1, Vim. Oh no, never. 2, Genie. Nope, not really used that. 3, Sublime Text Editor. Never heard of it. 4, Brackets. Never heard of it. Number 5, gedit. Yes, if you're working with the GNOME desktop. Number 6, Kate. Oh, absolutely, the best one ever. But it really only looks good in the KDE desktop. Number 7, Eclipse. Another one I'm not really familiar with. Number 8, Kwrite. Kwrite is just a more basic version of Kate, isn't it? 9, Nano. Oh, absolutely. I quite like Nano. And number 10, right at the bottom of the list, is GNU Emacs. And now for this week's stupid news, or more like satirical news, because I couldn't resist with this article. From pseudo-satirical, abused, battered USB flash drive, dreading distro hopper's next foray. Please, not again, not again. Those were the pitiful cries heard from a scratched up, faded and battered USB flash drive on Monday evening, as its owner inserted it once again, preparing to make it host their latest distro hopping adventure. This will be the 190th time. Well, it's only been used for about 2 weeks then, hasn't it? I think I kind of lost count, said the USB drive, wheezing and coughing every few words underneath its faded and torn decals. I make it hard for him though. You should see the amount of times he goes to put me in the slot and has to turn me around and try again. Oh yes, I know what that's like. I won't go in without a fight, let me tell you. The USB drive says the constant total rewrites and mounts have taken their toll, and that there needs to be more awareness of the plight of USB thumb or flash drives, especially those owned by Linux users. Yeah. Another distro, another day, where poor old me gets shoved in an empty slot, overwritten, mounted, and used to power Jimmy's latest Linux flavour of the week. Why can't I have ended up with some kid who uses me to store some innocent homework files on or something? Despite having to put up with a constant pawning of the fat man's hairy mitts, forced mounts and occasional unpluggings without proper ejection, oh, the poor USB. The USB drive remains optimistic that things will improve in the near future. I can feel it, you know. My amount of writes left is getting dangerously low. It added, and I'll win because I'll be dead, and Jimmy over there will be left spitting chips on some forum blaming his latest distro toy on being a failure when it refuses to boot. And the thought filled my sectors with joy. And that concludes a week of Linux news. Thanks for watching, I'll see you all later.